Okay, hi, welcome to the YBMB Show. And unusually, I'm out on location, back at the gym, which has been amazing. Downstairs, they're very, very choosy about social distancing, etc., which is really good. So there's only about 15 people down there in the gym, so I thought I'd come up here and do a cool down. Although you can get a really good workout at home, it is lovely to come to the gym when you can. So I'm planning to come a couple of times a week and get back to optimal fitness again, which is the plan. Anyway, today we are talking about mindset, and because it's Wednesday, and as you know on the YBMB show, we talk about body on Mondays and mindset Wednesdays and business on Fridays. But although I'm talking about mindset, it is very much with a specific intention, talking about how to get that next job. We were asked to go on BBC Radio yesterday to talk about precisely this. There were some stats out yesterday which said that there's more unemployment. It's rising, and in particular, it's impacting the very young under 25, and then the older people over 50. We were asked for our views on that. Is it harder to get a job post-pandemic? What should people do? I wrote a book on how to get your first job quite some time ago, 2015. You can still get it on Amazon, by the way. And it's very relevant whether you want to get your first job or your next job. If you want to completely change career or just get promotion, it's all still very relevant. What I'm going to do is summarize some of the points of that today for you. So that if you're looking for a next job, or if someone else you know is, then hopefully this will help. The first thing to say is, and that's what I'm talking about it today on mindset, is that it's 80% mindset. You've got to believe that it's possible for you to get that next job, because if you don't believe that, like Henry Ford said, if you believe you can, and if you believe you can't, you can't. So that's the first thing, is mindset. Now, it's always easier said than done, having a positive mindset. How do you get yourself to the point where you really do believe that it's all going to work out? Well, you try and look at the evidence, and there's a few things to tell you. Firstly, in general terms, you see people getting great jobs and thriving in absolute depths of depression economically, but you also see people not doing very well, even in booms. So there's always a chance to do well. It doesn't matter. It's not just about the economy. Onto the economy, though, you've obviously got to have the jobs there if you want to go and get one. Well, I just had a look at LinkedIn yesterday morning. I looked just a couple of things. I looked at IT, and there were 60, and I looked at the jobs that were posted just in London, and there was something like 60,000 jobs posted in IT in London, and about 47,000 of those were in the last month. I then looked at marketing, and there was a similar story, slightly less. I think it was about 40-something thousand. Again, I looked within the last month and in London alone. So, just those two sectors, just in London and just in the last month, there's 100,000 new jobs being posted. So, and they weren't all requiring significant amounts of experience either. They ranged from junior administrators through to, senior people as well. And they ranged all sorts of different salaries. That's the first thing, to help you with mindset, is that people do thrive in a really depressive economy. And secondly, it isn't a depressive economy. We've got 100,000 jobs just in those two sectors just sitting there, so you can do it. So how do you do it? Well, the first thing is that you have to be clear on what it is you want. If you go for everything, you're not going to really focus on any particular sector. And if you get to a point where you're having an interview and people ask you about your experience in the sector and everything, and you say things like, well, I'm just looking for anything, I'll take anything. Well, that employer wants someone who is really focused on their sector, really interested, because, we're all human. And as employers, we want to give people the opportunity if they really, really want it. So I would definitely say focus in on a niche. How do you do that? You look at what you really enjoy naturally. If you were to sort of turn everything off now, what would you do? What TV would you watch? What things would you read? So look at what you naturally enjoy. And see if you can find something that's related to that sector. The other thing is look at what you're good at. If you can combine something that you're good at and that you really enjoy, then that's a match made in heaven. I always use the example of someone I spoke to about that, where he was in insurance, he was good at it, he was experienced at it, he loved horse racing. And, in the end, he set up a business because I said to him about combining these two things. He set up a business, reinsuring bloodstock, thoroughbred racehorses. And it was a match made in heaven, really. It went on to do really well. So you have to pick something. So pick something. After that, look at all of your experience. And normally speaking, as Steve Jobs says, when you look back, you can join up the dots and see why you've got to where you are. You can pick out all the things that you've done that are relevant in terms of why you're interested now. And you make more of those and you put that together on a CV. And that can be all the things that you've been interested in, the projects you've been involved in, any charity things. It doesn't have to be just straightforward jobs. So you sort of try to put a story together on your CV, which is relevant to this new niche that you're going for. And then what you do is you make sure that is replicated in your LinkedIn profile. So in your LinkedIn profile, you want to be talking about, again, a story which positions you well for this next role. Someone I spoke to who is in YBMB program, and she was talking about the fact that she's always being overlooked for these particular job that she deserves. And when I looked at her LinkedIn profile, the title was, the title that she gave herself was the title of the job she was being offered, and it wasn't the title of the job that she wanted to be offered. So she was wondering why she was being overlooked for these more senior roles. And there was the answer, because people were looking at her LinkedIn and seeing that, she basically was mislabeling herself. So you have to label yourself in a way that you want other people to label you. So give yourself that decent title, which is relevant to. So in her example, she wanted to be a project director, but she was putting herself down as project manager the whole time. Not putting herself down, but labeling herself as a project manager. So repositioned because she'd been doing the project director job. So she repositioned herself as a project director. She started talking about all the project director type roles that she'd carried out. And then, hey presto, within a couple of weeks of that, she was offered not one, but two jobs as project director. So, you profile, you put yourself there to illustrate that that's what, what your expertise is. So that I call that packaging yourself up. The other thing to do once you package yourself up so that when people do come and see you, they see what they expect, and they're likely therefore to want to interview you at least. But after that, you look at, if you know what you want to do now, you package yourself up properly, then you've got to look at your audience. At the end of the day, when you're trying to find a job, it's like selling something, it's like you're selling yourself basically. And so when you want to sell anything, you've got to look at who the potential buyers are. And the potential buyers will be the employers, obviously, in this particular sector. So you've got to do some research on the companies, how many companies are there and how many employers are there that would be able to offer you this opportunity. And those are the ones that need to be part of your audience. And, they're the ones that I would be creating a big list. I'd be connecting to people on LinkedIn, maybe on Twitter as well, following them if you can. And trying to build up a network within that. Look at what people are writing, looking at the jobs in that sector, engaging with people online, making it clear that that's the move that you're looking for. People have massive networks, particularly on Instagram and Facebook. Don't forget, all of us employers are also on Instagram and Facebook. So let your network know that you are actually looking for a position in a particular sector, and to be amazed at who that maybe they can't offer you a job, but they know someone who can. Or at least can interview you or advise you. So let people know and engage, like I said, on LinkedIn. And this is your audience. These are the people then. So, if you wanted to get into marketing, let's say, you would look at all those jobs and you start going through them and you start to see which ones are worth applying for. Now, at that point, you've got to go for it. Apply for things, even if you think you can't tick all the boxes. Because when an employer puts together a job spec of what they want, it's a dream list, it's a wish list. In an ideal world, they want this person walking in with all of these things, but they always compromise. They take the best they can get. So if you've got 2 years experience, not 10, if you've got one qualification, but not the other, in fact, it's funny because the research says that men are more likely to apply for jobs when they don't have all the expertise. Whereas women, if they haven't got one of the points on a 10-point list, they won't apply, which is, I don't know if that's true now, but that's the research. But anyway, if you think you've got some of it, put yourself forward. So apply for everything. It is a different market today to what it used to be. You can't just apply for a few things online, give your details to a recruiter, and then just sort of sit there and go, oh God, I've applied for everything, I can't get a job, you know, which I hear a lot. I mean, it's ridiculous, you know, getting a job is a full-time job. So you have to sort of start early, work all day at it, constantly keep chasing people up. No one owes us anything. No one owes anybody anything. You have to go and get it for yourself. So this is what I mean about mindset. You know, it's knowing what you want, packaging yourself up, identifying who's likely to give it to you, and then really going for it. And then, you know, you keep applying, and then it's follow-up because, you know, recruiters are busy, employers are busy. Remember that, you know, an employer at the moment, same as you, same as me, have got a million things they've got to get doing. Hiring people is a job they probably don't want to do. They just want to find someone who can do that job. They really want you to be good enough to do the job. So it's not like someone's trying to catch you out in an interview. So when you do get the opportunity for an interview, remember that they really want you to pass it. So it's on your side, really. And then just be super positive. You know, if there are questions you can't answer, then note them for next time, because it's a learning experience. But just be really honest, and always talk about, you know, how positive you are, how you want to learn, how you are, you know, you want to make yourself indispensable. Again, you know, if you look at who's been made redundant, very often, I know this is harsh to say, but if employers are making people redundant, they always keep the people in the end. If they're really downsizing, they keep the people in the end who are multitaskers, who will do whatever they're asked, you know, what is asked of them, who are positive, who always show up, who don't complain. You've got to be one of those people, really. You've got to show that you are that person in an interview, because when an employer is interviewing, you know, they're really trying to find what potential problems there could be and to eliminate them, because the employer doesn't want to be dealing with a whole load of issues. They just don't want someone good who's going to help them to get the job done. So that's the interview thing. And then it's, you know, you've got to do it for the long haul. You've got to believe that you will get what you want if you focus on it enough. And I think, you know, that's where so many people fall down, is that they just put a few applications in, they get a few knockbacks, and they believe that it's never going to work for them, so they're never going to be able to achieve the job that they want, and they go in a downward spiral. But there are the jobs out there, and someone's got to do them, so why not you? What else can I tell you about getting that job? Well, as I say, I've got a book which will really sort of break this all down for you. It's called How to Get Your First Job and Build the Career You Want. But like I say, it's out on Amazon, but it's you know, it's not just a first job. It's you know, whatever job you want to get. I've also got a podcast series called I Want to Be A. You go on iTunes. I think I did the last one in December 19. But I interviewed about 50 different people in all different sectors. They were high flyers, you know, lawyers, accountants, marketing people, filmmakers, all sorts. And I asked them, you know, how they got to where they are, what it's like to do that job, and what their recommendations would be to people wanting to follow in their footsteps. Really great interviews, actually, some really good people there. And if you go onto that podcast, I Want to Be A, you'll be able to find something. You may be able to find something which is relevant to the job you want to do now. And then if you listen to one of those and you want to meet the person, then just drop me a line and I can introduce you to them, and you know, you can have a chat with them, and who knows, you might get an opportunity there. But other things to say to you really are, you know, this is all quite a challenging time still for people. All very well to say be positive, you know, work hard all day finding a job, but you know, obviously we are realists as well, and I know how hard things are when you constantly get knockbacks. How do you manage against that? When you do this sort of thing, you know, you exercise, you eat well, you sleep, you get your, you know, when I say you eat well, you eat whole foods, you get your protein in, hydrate a lot, drink a lot of water. So all those basics, you look after yourself, because then that makes you able to be resourceful, resilient, and you need to be that as well. Other things to tell you, well, we have an online course called Careers Mastery. It's me sort of talking about this in a more formal way, and giving you step-by-step guidance and things to do to be able to really pull together your whole CV, your interview proposition. I also talk on it as well about you know, personal grooming and personal branding and how to put yourself across, and there's a whole load of stuff in that as well. So I think that's it to finish up with. There are loads of jobs. Identify what you really want to do. Don't just go for everything as a scattergun approach. let people know, let your immediate network know. Update your profile and your CV, make sure they reflect each other. And if you're not on LinkedIn already, get on there and start engaging with people in the sector. Identify the employees you want to work for. Look for all the jobs that are in that sector. Apply for them, even if you haven't got everything. And then follow up. That's the other point that I really wanted to make, is that employers are busy, recruiters are busy. Don't think because you've written to them once and they've not responded, or they've said they'll let you know, that you should leave it there. In the end, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. You need to be the squeaky wheel, constantly bringing them back every week, follow up. So in the end, if something does come up, then, they will remember you. Actually, another point as well is take a temp job if you can. Just take a temp job in this sector. You can, number one, you get some money. Number two, it gives you something to get up for and keeps you in the working environment. But really importantly, is I see so many people who get a great permanent position, which came from a temp role or a consultancy role, because they proved their worth. And then, the employer says, oh, look, this job's just come up. Do you want it? And, you have an interview and you've got the job. So you'll take that if you have to, just take something. Because that, again, it builds things up on your CV as well. So, and then, like I said, there's a book on Amazon of mine. There's a careers mastery course. We can put the links in on that as well. And if you really want to sort of completely overhaul your life with regard to your physical being, your physical fitness, transform your body, get strong, learn about longevity, learn about the fact that all the science is pointing towards 100 being the new 60. And, you really want to set yourself up for massive long-term success for decades to come, then join YBMB. And I'd love to then personally work with you. So that's it for now. I've done the workout. I'm just going to finish these steps. I'll probably put it on an incline, do a bit of a run now. And lovely to talk to you as always. And take care.